You're listening to the Recovered Life Show, the show that helps people in recovery live their best recovered lives. And here is your host, Damon Frank.
And welcome back to the Recovered Life Show. It is Monday, May 23rd, 2022. I'm with Kristina Dennis, my co-host. How you doing, Kristina?
I am doing great. Damon Frank, how are you doing?
You know, pretty good. It was a good weekend. It was a good weekend.
Nice.
Very nice weather in Southern California. Not too hot, but hot enough that I got a little red.
You got a little sun?
On Volley was commenting on my red forehead. So I appreciate that, all of you. That doesn't hurt my self-esteem at all.
No, not at
I
all.
just want to let everybody know.
It's okay. We'll walk you through it. A little makeup. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that.
How was your weekend? How was besides picking out makeup for me? How was your weekend?
It was awesome. My son went to prom, and for those that don't know, he has high support needs. He's on the spectrum, and it was so fun to watch him dance. He's a bit of a slam dancer. He would have fit in any mosh pit, but it was really, really cool. It was very cool.
Well, I just want to say Uncle Damon is still waiting for a picture.
Okay.
Your son is a very good looking young man, and I'm sure he looked great. And I you know, what was great is to see your excitement about it, about the getting ready as a mom and everything. It was really neat. And that's one of the benefits of recovery, obviously, is just to be able to be around for things like this.
So true. I know in the years past, if I'd still be drinking, I wouldn't have cared. And to be able to see it and see his joy, it was really special.
Well, we are so glad that everybody is with us. We hope that you had a really great weekend. We've got a great show for you today. It's going to be very familiar for people that are in 12 steps, the topic of it. And we can't wait to bring that to you.
Absolutely. And before we get to that, though, I want to let everybody know this show's being brought to you by Recovered Life contributors like myself, like Damon, and people like you. Make sure to join the community, recoveredlife.us. Get on Volley, talk to us, like, share, follow. Let everybody know that we're over here. That's recoveredlife.us.
I cannot wait for more people to join the community. Look, Kristina, you know that we have been migrating our community over to Volley, which is this new app. And you have to opt in from us because, look, we have a closed community. We're talking about recovery. We're talking about issues like alcoholism, codependency, drug addiction, eating disorders, right? We're talking about the real deal. So we want to make sure that your experience there is great. And our partnership with Volley has been just so essential because it's this face-by-face, turn-by-turn messaging. And it's really taken the community to a whole new level.
It has. We get to know you. We get to see you. I'll tell you, it's a lot of fun. Even though our topics are serious, it is a lot of fun. And you won't be doing your recovery alone. I think it's going to be essential.
Absolutely. What's interesting about Volley, about our experience there, is that we have all these different channels, and one of them is a daily drink. And I was already up this morning.
I saw it.
You put in there. Yeah. And I put these topics in there with the daily drink, and we have the show channel. We've got all these different channels where people are listening and participating. And what's great, what I love about it, Kristina, is that we have people in their 70s that are on Volley giving us, they're more active. I think the people that we have in our 70s are way more active than the people we have in our 20s.
For now, I think that eventually they'll grow. And, people sometimes aren't used to video, but I cannot emphasize enough how nice it is to be seen and to be able to see other people. And it's just a really great place to gain support. The daily drink that you so graciously send out every day it's got wonderful topics that orient my day. Even in long-term recovery, to be like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm going to think of this today and I'm going to focus on it. And it's really, it's so fun. And I can't wait to see more people using it.
Well, we can't wait to see you there. You can go to recoveredlife.us, like Kristina said, and join us. Listen, we have a great segment for you today. If you're in 12 steps, you're going to be you're going to be already oriented towards this. If you're not somebody who recovered during 12 steps, you've probably heard about this word, gratitude. So
Yes.
Kristina found a great article. We're going to talk about it today. It's the science of gratitude.
I love this. And, it's from the Greater Good Science Center at Berkeley. And so it is true scientific data. It's a metadata, which means they went and analyzed all of the studies around gratitude and really picked up the highlights for us to read. And, I'm going to say this, I've said it before, being a member of a 12-step group, it was way ahead of its time, because in the white paper, the article, you hear that they just started studying the science of gratitude about 20 years ago. But I've been writing a gratitude list, and that's what they call a gratitude intervention, which I like that word, being an interventionist. I've been writing a gratitude list from day one when I was in recovery. And so once again, we find out that those of us who are in recovery are a little ahead of the curve. And again, now we have science. We can look inside the brain and we see that it not only has emotional wealth and benefits, it has physical benefits. And I thought I would explain what this paper starts off with, a definition of gratitude, because it's a little squishy when you say.
Yeah, I do.
Term?
And, I wanted to say something about the 12 steps here real quick.
Yes.
Because I think, with all of this investigation and new science about trauma, with all about these SSRIs that are coming out and how to treat people that have occurring disorders, right? Coexisting disorders with alcoholism, drug addiction, depression, anxiety. I think we don't appreciate the 12 steps as much as we should. I'm gonna say that, I'm a big fanboy of the 12 steps. Like I've told you, it totally saved my life. They were so ahead of their time. If you they were still, when these were being developed, I think people need to have context. When these people were being developed, most people didn't have cars. They were still on horseback, right?
Yes.
Like, the 20s and 30s, when all these concepts were really being put together. And, it's a huge, massive, I'm going to say, like, if there was a Nobel Prize for spirituality, I don't know if there is, this would be it. This is one of the biggest discoveries that we had. They were talking about the power of gratitude, hardcore transformational elements in the 30s and 40s, and even in the Oxford group, right? Like before that.
Yes. And it blows me away. I can't tell you how many times as a coach and a trauma specialist, how many times I've sat down with the elite, listened to their lectures, these new discoveries that everybody's so excited, and thought, well, that's in the big book. Well, that's in the big book. Oh, that's not new. That's in the big book. And it blows my mind. For at least the last 10 years, I started studying the science of neuroscience when my son was diagnosed. I started realizing I have to learn a lot about the brain. And when you're in the world of autism, you start to learn all about the nervous system. And I can tell you that there were a lot of times when I was working with my son that I applied the 12-step principles and understood, that I needed to, work with him in a certain way. And it really blows my mind. I remember go ahead. I was going to tell you, I remember my first experience with the 12 steps in outpatient rehab, that the woman, she had 12 years of sobriety, her saying to me, look, hundreds of years from now, they're not going to be so excited about the latest technology or how we discovered things. They're going to be like, how did the human race figure out the 12 steps to heal themselves? It's crazy. And it's
it is crazy. And, the thing is, look, the argument is that, look, 12-step groups did not create gratitude. That's 100% true. One of the things that I have gotten with gratitude that I wanted to bring up is that I love Stoicism, right? And Stoicism is very similar to the 12 steps in the fact it's like, okay, these are the facts on the ground. This is what I'm going to do with it. I just butchered what Stoicism is there, but that's definitely a factor. And gratitude is part of Stoicism, is to be able to look at something and to be able to say, hey, I feel grateful
Yes.
for this. But here's what I want to talk with you about, because this article, and if you could, later, if you could tell us where this is, where people can find it, we'll put a link in the show notes. But we're talking about the science of gratitude. We're talking about actually what it does to you, because I think people know that they feel good. Like sometimes, oh yeah, now I was ungrateful. Now I'm grateful. I feel better. But that's not really what's happening with gratitude. And not everybody feels good, but it does have a scientific background, a breakthrough that they found in this, that it actually does something to you, gratitude.
Absolutely. And just so everybody knows, again, the article's from the Greater Good Science Center, which is out of Berkeley. So fancy school. It's at least 50 pages. It's literally a study of all the studies that have happened. And through neuroscience, even though, maybe original 12 steps didn't understand what gratitude was doing, but what we have learned about our brains since then, it shows us that our brains are not designed to keep us happy. They are designed to watch out for danger, right? So it's like a gravel road to something positive, but an 8-lane freeway to something negative. And the brain is lazy. Like, it wants to do things in the most efficient manner, which is why you have to take agency with your thoughts. So the practice of writing down things that you are grateful for, or sitting, for 30 seconds to a minute, pondering on good things that have happened to you, actually retrains your brain, and it makes you build neural pathways so that access to this information is easier to find. But it also, your reticular activating system in the back of your brain says, oh, Kristina wants to look for good things. She likes good things. So I'm going to start looking for more that is good. And it works. It absolutely works. I loved the history. Like, you're putting up a statement about research suggests that gratitude is not simply a cultural construct. It has deep roots that are embedded in our evolutionary history, our brains, and our DNA, and child development.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I think the power of gratitude, I think that people have known for a long time. Look, if you've ever had a friend that's been going through a hard time, a family member that's not in recovery, if you were in recovery, you've probably used, it's like, all right, this is a horrible situation that we're in, but let's just take a moment to ask what we are, to reflect on what we are grateful for, the gifts that we have coming in. One of the things that you mentioned that I've noticed, it's been, you mentioned this, and this has been the key, I think, in my high performance coaching, is that asking different questions, like you were just saying, it's like posing like a bit different, like, okay, what am I grateful for? I think so many times in recovery, we're trained through loss to ask crappy questions.
Yes.
And what we get back from the universe, I'm just using that as a general term, is crappy answers.
Of course.
So when we start asking, what's wrong here? What's wrong with me?
It shows you.
Why won't I ever change? It proves it to you, right?
Yes, absolutely. It totally shows you. And hope is not an emotion. It is a cognitive process. And one of the things that happens when you are hopeless is that you think it's permanent and pervasive. It's every area of your life, which is why the simple act of focusing on things that you're grateful for will allow you to stop that process and start creating a cognitive process of hope. Now, I never suggest, if somebody's suffering, that they stop right there in the middle of the suffering and think of something that's happy. But I know that it's for their greater good to continue to practice gratitude. And if you do it as a preemptive exercise, it will allow your brain to start looking for hopeful things. It will allow your brain to start doing it. Yes. So it's powerful.
One of the things that it mentions in the article is that the influence that somebody has regarding religion, cultural influence, and parenting styles may influence a person's tendency to experience gratitude. And this is the key that I like about, because I've noticed my parenting style is that, sometimes life is so packed and so busy now. And with COVID, let's just dive into the reality of this. There's a lot going on in our lives.
Yes.
Before we did this show, Kristina, we were just talking, you were just talking about prom. I've got these things I'm doing with my family. I've got work stuff. We've got, everybody has money pressures right now.
Right.
It tends to, the conversation is easier to tend towards the negative. Like I just noticed this in the gas station. When I'm pumping gas, the person next to me, they're like, oh, really? Like $6.50 a gallon?
Well, yeah.
It always goes to the negative. And like, not that I'm thrilled about paying $6.50 a gallon. And for the people in Arizona and the other states that don't have the taxes, they're like, what? $6.50?
Yep.
They're not paying $6.50 a gallon, but we are like almost $7 a gallon. And it will tend to the negative. And you could say, but no one's like, wow, you know what? Yeah. To acknowledge the fact that I don't like that it's $7 a gallon, but then to be able to say, it's just like, I just am filling up a very nice car. I didn't walk here.
Right.
It's hot. I had air conditioning. This ability to just be able to see what's in front of us with this hyper-connected world, Kristina, has been lost, in my opinion. It's been lost. True. People can't see the beauty and gratitude of things that are right in front of them.
So true. And culture plays a big part of that, and family units do. And we talk a lot about ACOA work, where we talk about the belief systems that we have as children. And if you don't challenge them by taking agency with your thoughts and start practicing a different kind of belief system, you're going to continue that on because it's unconscious. So, I mean, the article, the Greater Good article is so informative for anyone that maybe thinks that when somebody gives them a direction to write a gratitude list, that they're full of it. I will be honest with you. In early recovery, I was offended sometimes when somebody would tell me to do this. But year after year after year, I have recognized that it is powerful, and I cannot deny the positives that have come out of having a practice of gratitude.
Well, okay. So now we're talking about the real deal, which is what I like to have on the Recovered Life Show, is because both of us have long-term recovery, right? I'm just gonna tell you this. Like, I have been in a place where I've gotten on these, I'm gonna say, text distribution lists where everybody does 5 gratitude things a day or whatever. And I've literally like wanted to kill somebody. It's so like, I'm like, dude, we're like, what world are these people living in? Like, I'd say that to myself because, I think it's, and I know you do this in coaching too, right? Because we do coaching together. Like, and I know that you're a realist about a lot of things. Like, you'll say it like, and this is where I'm getting to with gratitude. Hold tight here. You're like, David, where are you going with this? A lot of the times people think that you can't talk the truth, but yet still be grateful.
Yes.
Like, one of the things that you and I talk about with coaching, one of the big missteps I think a lot of sober coaches make is that they think that they're better off not telling the person the truth.
Right.
Right. And, and the way that I say is like, you know what? Hey, listen, yeah, your life's a shambles. Mm-hmm. And here's the deal. You're wondering if you keep drinking, if you're going to die. I'm going to tell you, you probably will.
Yep.
Okay. And I love you enough. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Right.
Right. This is the thing with gratitude that I'm also, is that also at the same time that this is a bad situation, let's look around. One, you're here. You're able to talk. You're not dead yet, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a myriad of different things. So for me, what gratitude does is it rack focuses, just like a camera, right? It rack focuses me back to the here and now. What's going on in my life in the here and now? And so many times I interpret gratitude as some sort of weird popsicle lollipop magical land. But but what I've realized is, no, I need to just bring it to the here and now. I ate today. I'm safe. I have a car to drive. I have a house to live in. And, and in times that I didn't have a car to drive and a house to live in, I'm here. I'm healthy. I can stand, right? Like, literally the basics.
You're so right. And I'm glad that you brought that up about being a realist, because I know both you and I know that we're not saying, Pollyanna perspective. No one is telling somebody when they say we want you to have a practice of gratitude, no one is telling you that you're not allowed to have feelings about pain and grief and fear. Of course you are. But in every life, and I had to learn this very specifically when my son was diagnosed, in every life, there is something that is positive that needs to be brought forward. That being said, it can't be fake, because your brain will know that it's fake. Like sometimes affirmations, people will say the law of attraction isn't working for me because every day I say I'm a millionaire and I'm not a millionaire. And it's because your brain knows that that's a lie. You have to find things that you are truly grateful for. And the definition of gratitude that I wanted to state that came straight out of this study was that it's two parts. One is recognizing that one has obtained a positive outcome. And then the second part is recognizing that there's an external source for that positive outcome.
There you go. And I think this is why the 12-step community has embraced this so much. It's so genius. I put a little quote. If you guys are listening on the podcast, we're going to read these quotes. And thank you for reading that definition, because you said an external source. Yes. And, according to Cicero, I believe, who wrote this, gratitude is more than the greatest virtue. It is also the mother of all other remaining virtues. And this is the thing. It's the gateway. It's the spiritual gateway. I believe willingness is the first gateway, right? Like you don't have to have, look, I know a lot of people who aren't, quote, intelligent. They're not, quote, as society would say, they're not even self-realized. They don't have self-realization or self-awareness, but they had willingness, right? Yes. And willingness is the gateway. And I think, but what they're talking about here is this greater force, and gratitude, being able to walk you through a portal where you're literally seeing things differently.
Yes. And, the other virtues, patience, love, understanding, we have to have something to anchor us to be able to see those, to be able to be those. And part of that is grieving and getting rid of the things that we've been carrying around that are negative from our past or old belief systems. But a lot of it is, what do you focus on? Because that's another universal truth. What you focus on grows. And so if you want good stuff in your life, you've got to focus on what is good now.
Well, this is why the BS meter goes off for me when I hear gratitude, right? And it's my ego. See, it's the ego that says, well, it can't be this simple. You're not involved in it, right? And this is the key to all you need to do is open yourself up to the fact that it's of the realization. It's like, yeah, I ate today. I had clean water today. A lot of people, it's such perspective. A lot of people don't understand that they're just that their existence itself is very, very special, right? Just the fact that they're there walking around, not even including a lot of alcoholics that don't understand. It's like, this is the worst thing that happened to me. I'm an alcoholic. I mean, how many times have you heard that, Kristina? This is the worst thing that happened to me. My life is over. I'm an alcoholic. Well, no, you know what? I'm going to tell you, I felt that way. But now I think alcoholism was one of the best things. Alcoholism was a gift for me, because I never would have had the life I have. I never would have been able to push myself to the way. True. I just would have been comfortable, and I would have just done what I did, right? I would not been able to achieve what I have been able to achieve. And I definitely would not have the spiritual connection that I have if it was not for alcoholism.
Me too, because the journey of treating alcoholism is what actually allowed me to break so that I could expand. And if you're new in recovery, you're going to hear it. I'm a grateful alcoholic. And it's okay if that pisses you off at first. I promise you, if you continue to take direction and keep doing these things, you're going to be in a place of gratitude for the thing that you thought was the worst thing that happened to you.
Well, I'll tell you, I think that's misunderstood a lot of times too, is like people say, you know what? I am a grateful alcoholic. They're not grateful that they almost drank themselves to death.
No.
They're grateful for the fact that they found the path out of it, and they can help other people do the same. It's a different interpretation. Kristina, what's your big takeaway from the science of gratitude? What did you get from all of this?
That it is so much more powerful than even I realized. And it is universal. It works every single time. Now, maybe over time, it may not make you feel better in the moment, but if you continue to have a gratitude intervention, you continue to take practices and train your brain, it will work for you.
I love that. I got the same, that it's so easy to access, and that we need to just get at, one of the big takeaways I got from this is reading this and having this discussion is I just need to get out of my own way and look at what's in front of me. It's just right in front of me. There's so much to be grateful for. Right. And really that is the gateway. Like, people want the magic, they want the magic beans. Look, we see this all the time in recovery and coaching. It's like, Coach, just give me something. Kristina, give me something, right? Yes. They say, that's just going to fix me, right? Just give me a pill, give me a saying, give me a mantra. And I am so glad that does not exist.
That's right.
Because one, you're not broken, is what I tell people. And two, the magic is the doing of it and the living with it. That is the magic, right? That is really what you're looking for. It's in the here and now. It's what you're doing right now, right? And so this has been such a great article and great discussion, Kristina. Thank you so much for bringing this to my attention. Let's talk about, real quick before we sign off here, the Recovered Life community and these Recovered Life discussions we're having on Clubhouse.
Right. I'm excited for the one today. You are welcome to come be part of the community. And what we do is we bring wonderful topics like this, and we have hour-long discussions in which other people that are in recovery can also bring their experience to the discussion. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to feel like you belong and to stretch your brain a little bit.
Look, a lot of people want to listen to the show, and we put the Recovered Life discussions as episodes on the show, but sometimes people want to participate in the show. Please. And if you want to participate in the show, go to recoveredlife.us. It's the easiest thing that you can do. You can become a member, and you can jump into our community, and we're going to let you know when these Recovered Life discussions are. This one, gratitude. Hey, we have a Neuro Room. I'm sure we'll be talking and having a discussion about that. What Neuro Room is Tuesday. We've got a Plan Your Sober Week that starts on Monday that you could be part of the discussion with. We go into setting healthy boundaries on Wednesday. Right. And then I've got my Unstuck Room if you want to live that high performance life on Thursday. Guys, there is something for everybody there. So jump in, not only become part of the Recovered Life community, but also become part of the discussion. Find everything about it at recoveredlife.us. That is recoveredlife.us. Kristina, Dennis, any final thoughts for this beautiful Monday morning?
Thank you for being here. You are important, and take care of yourself. It's a beautiful day.
Absolutely. Guys, join us on Volley. We're going to jump on right now. We're going to start having a discussion about gratitude. So join us, guys, recoveredlife.us. Everybody have a great week. We're going to see you on Wednesday.
Mwah.
Keep the conversation going. Join Recovered Life, a community of like-minded people who are looking to live their best recovered lives. Membership is free, and you can apply at recoveredlife.us.